Alright guys, I'm working on the Rd frame. Today's the day. I'm going to get it painted. What I'm doing here and what I highly recommend doing is going over the whole frame with steel wool. I'm not going to bore you with me doing all this for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, but you get the point. Just get some steel wool. I use the 4 zeros, the number 0000. It's the finest one. And just go over the whole thing, just in case there's any, I don't know. I don't really know what the exact science behind it, if you will. It's more or less just to scrub any little grease or anything off like that. And I kind of just do it just as a precaution, just so I can look at everything. That way I look at everything one last time, make sure I didn't miss anything. Before I go any farther with this, I wanted to just talk about these welds and just talk about this frame a little bit. These are the factory welds from Yamaha in 1975. Look at this. Okay, so this next step is actually very important. This is the steel wooling. I don't know, you could probably get away with not doing that. It's not really a big deal. It's kind of just something I do. This, using acetone. Now I'm going to go over this whole frame for, I don't know, probably 5-10 minutes of just wiping every surface down. But basically all you do is you just put a little acetone on your rag and just wipe everything. I'm going to put on some rubber gloves just so afterwards I don't have, I'm not going to put any more fingerprints on here. So what you really want to do is just clean everything, any kind of grime or oil or fingerprints or even possibly paint stripper that was on here that I didn't sand off or grind off with the brass brush. Just go over everything and just clean the heck out of it before you put your primer on. Nothing more annoying than if you paint something and it starts to peel off too soon. I can show you what I'm talking about. You see up in there? That whitish haze, that's paint stripper that didn't get sanded off because it's up inside there. Something else that I recommend doing is if there's any screw holes with threads, this frame doesn't really have too much threaded holes in it, too many threaded holes. Like there's some threads here. I really don't feel like having them all painted up, so I'll tape that off a little bit. And then also up here, you definitely want to tape that off so you don't get a ton of paint in there. It'll just be more work later. Also, whenever you're working with acetone, make sure you're in a very well ventilated area, because definitely not good to be breathing this stuff in too much if you're in a closed up area. Like I'm actually in a nice warm living room of a house, and it's tempting just to keep the doors shut and everything, but you gotta keep it ventilated, because it's wintertime and I already have a really bad cold. So the last thing I really need is to be, I shouldn't say I have a really bad cold, but I do have a slight sniffle because it's 20 some degrees out this morning. I've been outside all morning. Right now it's only 7 in the morning. This area is where it gets a lot of grease. I actually might have to put this on hold for the time being, which is super annoying because I just realized I forgot I have to cut off this kickstand. Shit. See, I was planning on removing this kickstand bracket right here, and I just remembered I forgot to remove it. So let me figure out what I'm doing. I'm going to use this self-etching primer, Rust-Oleum self-etching primer. One thing that I can't stress enough on any kind of spray painting is mixing the paint. Most people make the mistake, they'll be like, oh, it's good, it's mixed. It's not mixed. Like, for real, you got to mix the spray paint really good for a long time, or get one of the shaker things that go on the end of the sawzall that shake it. Because if you don't shake your paint, it's not going to last, it's not going to look right, it's more so with regular paint than primer, but they all need to be shaken very well. It's going to be very hard for you guys to hear me with this mask on because I already talk too quiet, but you can get amazing results with spray paint if you follow the steps and you know how to paint. So here we go, we're going to start priming. One thing I also always do is spray the paint a little bit out onto something just to get it spraying and make sure your tip's good. There we go. Another thing you want to do is very, very light coats. I can't stress enough, you don't need to put this all on at once. Like, just put like to the where it barely will cover. Like a ridiculously light coat at first. Make sure you don't miss any spots, because there's nothing more annoying than when you take it out in the bright light of outside, because right now it's almost dark out, so I only have these shitty lights to go off of.
Alright, so this primer is very smelly, and I don't feel like dying or whatever, breathing in too much paint. So I got on my big guy here, but I think it's kind of funny because when COVID first started, I actually wore this mask out to the grocery store and scared the shit out of people. People wouldn't even get anywhere near me. It was awesome.
All right, now I'm on to my parts washing area. So I have all these grimy parts, and here's my parts washing tub, I guess you could say. I guess what I'll do is I'll fill the tub with simple green, and then I will turn on the jacuzzi jets and just let them go for a little while. It's kind of like a redneck ultrasonic cleaner. Okay guys, well here's the Yamaha Rd350 frame. Last time you saw it, it was in the self-etching primer. Which I was going to say when I was talking about the self-etching primer, you can go over that with a sandable primer if you plan on sanding it after you primer. This frame I didn't, so I just went with the self-etching. But if you learned anything during this video, please subscribe to our channel. At least hit the like button for us. It goes a long ways. Helps us out a lot. So hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you liked this video. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.